All right, guys. So today we are joined by Sam Highsmith, who is the father of Pittsburgh Steelers outside linebacker Alex Highsmith. So I just want to thank you again for joining us, and we really appreciate you making some time for us today.
Oh, awesome. Anytime. It's exciting to follow my son and also be a part of the Steelers Nation. It's been great.
Yeah, well, we're definitely glad to have you. So first, I'm going to start off by mentioning that Alex is about halfway through his rookie season, and he's definitely been making some impact plays already, as we saw with the huge monumental interception that he had that kind of turned that game around. So what's it been like for you so far to watch him on the biggest stage this year?
It's been great. I mean, obviously a little disappointing not getting the normal draft process after the draft, the camp. I mean, obviously we're looking forward to that, but we're just excited for him. We were so excited to actually be able to attend the game. The first game me and my wife attended was the Eagles game.
Okay.
And I've been at every game since then. She's taken a couple of breaks. We are headed to Dallas, and then she's going to go to Pittsburgh for the Cincinnati game, and I'm going to take a weekend off from the traveling. But it's been surreal. I've said that so many times, but it's truly the best word for this, particularly where our sons come from. I mean, a lot of these guys he's playing with have been 5-star, 4-star. They've been recruited since they were literally freshmen in high school, and not him. I mean, he definitely took the long, hard road.
Okay. Yeah, we definitely wanted to get into some of that, the particular road that he took. But I did want to have one. I know you mentioned about you've been at every game since. So you were there live to see the interception this past weekend?
Yeah, the crazy thing was that we had honestly the best seats we've had has been in Baltimore. Me and my brother-in-law were there, and we were in that end zone. So I said, "Oh, let me get the video out." So it was just truly random. So I got the camera up there, and I'm videoing, and I'm trying to follow the ball into him. I thought, "Oh my God, he caught the ball!" So I'm just sitting there going, "Go son, go son!" So I actually tweeted that out, my video of that, and
I'm gonna have. Can we use that video?
Sure, I will definitely send it to you.
It's, email that to me because I wanna play that on the episode for sure. That was a huge moment.
Yeah, that's an awesome story. That's so coincidental that you pulled the camera out at the exact right time. I hope those Baltimore Ravens fans weren't too rough on you, man. I've been in that stadium in my Steeler garb. I know it's not easy. Well, I guess with only 5,000 in the stadium, it couldn't have been too bad.
But there were 3 young guys to our right who did try something. They were just like hitting on the seats when the video board said make noise, which you expected that.
Right.
Yeah.
But one time this kid got out and actually moved over to my right to his left and bammed on the seats 2 from me. I looked at my brother-in-law and said, "Did he just do that?" I actually turned to him. I said, "Hey, buddy, you can cheer for your team all you want, but you need to stay over there."
Yeah,
I like that.
I'm not taking that mess.
Yeah.
Don't let him push you
later
around.
on, he asked me, he said, "Well, I don't know who Hightower is. I haven't seen that name a lot. So what? Tell me about this Hightower guy." I said, "Well, he played at Charlotte." He kept on. I said, "Well, that's my son." His whole demeanor just changed. He was the nicest guy the rest of the game.
Yeah, he had respect for you then.
Yeah.
It was really funny, yeah.
That is pretty funny. So we want to take it back a little bit and talk about how Alex got started in football. But first, we were kind of curious if you had any sort of football background growing up.
It's funny you said that. Someone asked me that earlier. No, I never played football. I played a little league baseball, and I played basketball 1 year of high school. And the funny thing was, I was actually a cheerleader in college up at UNC. I went to UNC Chapel Hill, and I was there with James Worthy, Michael Jordan. So I was there for Dean Smith's first championship. I didn't make the basketball team. I tried out for the JV team, so I wanted to do something. And luckily, one of the kids, not kids, one of the ladies in the next dorm said, "You need to do this." I tried out and made it, and so I did that for 2 years, and that led to me being a teacher. That led to me being a coach, and I actually met my wife that way. So there would be no Alex Highsmith if it wasn't for cheerleading in Carolina. But I could jump really, really well. So I've already told a couple of people, him high pointing that ball, he got that for me. So
we were actually talking about that, how he made a great play, and I guess apparently I read that he made an adjustment from something, that play that he got beat on in the first half. So that's what we like to see, especially from a Steelers player for many years to come.
Yeah. So all right. So fast forward many years ahead now. You've got a son. At what point do you introduce him to football, or did you introduce him, or at what age kind of did he start playing and get going with it as a kid?
Okay. He's been playing forever. He played 2 years of flag. He's one like most boys. You know, we gave him balls around the house, and he loved the ball. And I think the first thing we ever did was maybe T-ball, but we did flag football the following year. And so I wouldn't be a bored parent that's out there. I helped coach, and I learned enough about the game over the years. And I coached from his year of Pee Wee of a flag all the way up until his last year playing, which was his 6th grade year in middle school. And I was assistant. I learned enough about the game to be able to help coach those kids, and loved it. Sorry, I'm looking over. My wife is looking at the election returns, but
Yeah.
so that was something we got to do together, and it was really, really special. Met so many other kids. Being an educator, well, you guys haven't asked, but I was a teacher and a principal administrator for 20 years, and I'm actually out now. I'm semi-retired. I'll be officially retired next year. But this involvement with kids and the coaching helped make it enjoyable for me. But I was part of that process. So, and I think that's one of the reasons now it's so much fun, so easy for me to still stay with the Steelers Nation, because I was involved with Coastal Park Warner, with the middle school, with his high school, a whole lot with Charlotte. I mean, they're like family. So, I mean, it's kind of easy transition.
Well,
But he loved it. We never forced him into playing sports. He enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because one of the questions we were going to ask you is, we're brothers. Obviously, we have 2 other brothers, so we grew up playing tons of sports, and our dad was always really big, and he was always a big proponent in coaching us. I mean, we had multiple age groups where he was coaching both of us and coaching different sports. So I was glad to hear that you had that part. Do you think that you took a personal interest in his development in football, or did you kind of keep your hands back and not want to be overbearing, with like kind of pushing him to pursue it at a higher level?
I'll be honest, my goal was when he started playing, he'd like enough to continue tackle. I want him to get enough out of this that he can play school ball and play in high school. That was my goal. Yeah, I wanted him to play in high school. But I made a point of not being that parent. I wasn't going to make it uncomfortable, not fun. I mean, I didn't make him go out there and we caught balls and all that. We did a lot more in baseball because they actually played all sports, youth ball. He played baseball, played basketball. And basketball was his favorite sport. He loved it. But his size, as he was developing, he wasn't as tall as other guys. So he did play basketball in high school, so he was a senior. But we would go out there and I'd throw balls to him. We'd hit out there. We played baseball a lot more because there's more you can do with it. But football, we honestly didn't do a whole lot with that. What he got was like most kids. He got it during the seasons. And it was a great bond for us. A lot of tough times. I mean, he's a big kid now, but when he was in Pop Warner, he was on that edge and not making weight. So every year of tackle, except this last year, we had to limit his diet. We had to do a little extra running. I almost actually thought about giving him a water pill to help lose the weight. But I said, no, I'm not going to do that. But he made weight every game, but it was hard, really hard.
So was there a point, I know you mentioned a lot of sports, was there a point where he kind of zeroed in as football was his sport? And at what age kind of would you say, or if there ever was a time where you were like, I think he's got a future in this game?
He never zeroed in on football, I would say, until he never specialized. He played football and basketball, middle school and high school. He played 1 year basketball in middle and 1 year basketball in high school because he grew. I mean, Alex was probably 5'6", 5'7" in 8th grade. Excuse me. Yeah, 8th grade year. He was 5'8.5", 5'9" as a beginning year sophomore, and all of a sudden he grew. He grew up to be. He was 6 foot as a sophomore, then he grew to 6'2", 6'2.5" as a senior. So he had a perfect growth spurt late. So he wasn't this tall, gangly kid. He was always smaller. Understood the game, but he played baseball through that time. So he played sports. He wasn't on varsity until the junior year. So he was just a regular athlete. He ended up starting in baseball his senior year, but he started as a junior in football. What happened, there was one of the other inside linebackers who was in California all summer, but Alex didn't miss any of the preseason training, any of the summer training. So the coach rewarded him, let him have that starting spot. And honestly, probably like 3 or 4 games into the season, it's like he's making plays. And I remember so distinctly asking Coach Andy's, I'm sorry, I'm getting my coaches mixed up. Gotta see his face. But anyway, he was one of the assistant Coach Adams, and I said, God, you think he actually has a chance to play college ball? He said, oh, yeah, I think he could play. I mean, easily play Division II so, I mean, and I was like, wow, we just got the big eyes, and I remember being excited about that. But as the year got going, he kept playing better. And I remember him getting, because the coach we had at that school had a friend, I remember this exactly, had a friend who knew someone at Chapel Hill. So like the Chapel Hill coach came by and brought us a brochure, just a camp brochure, not saying they were recruiting him at all, but just the thought of that, I said, you know what, let's go to all these summer camps. So we went to Dukes, Carolinas, Wake Forest. Sorry, we didn't go to Dukes. We went to NC State, Carolina, Wake Forest. We went to Charlotte. We went to Elon, Coastal Carolina. We basically went everywhere. Excuse me. Still wasn't a whole lot of attention. Had a very good conversation with Charlotte assistant coach who played at Wake Forest. Hopefully I'm going to get his name here before this conversation is over. He was All-American at Wake, #1 draft pick by Seattle Seahawks, and really didn't have a great career, but he was an assistant under Coach Lambert because Lambert was defensive coordinator at Wake when they won the AC championship.
Wasn't Aaron Curry.
That's it. Coach Curry, Aaron Curry. I remember Alex telling me at the break, he said, well, Coach Curry likes some of the things I'm doing. I said, okay. So I go over there and talk to him. I said, wait a minute, that's Aaron Curry. And he asked me, he said, has he ever played before? I said, yeah. I mean, he's played school ball forever. He's on varsity for 1 year. So he is so raw, but you can tell he has some ability. And jump forward to the end of Alex's freshman year, before his redshirt freshman year, because Coach Curry wasn't there. Actually, he was there his redshirt freshman year. He looked at me and said, no, we have not recruited a kid like your son. And he said that, I didn't ask him, he just said that. I was like, wow, what a compliment. And I guess he saw something as being a professional himself in my son. And I don't know, I guess you said the rest is history. Alex just had a confidence about himself. And I think because he struggled so much to be as good as some of the other guys. I mean, he was not the fit kid. He wasn't slim. He was a little bit overweight when he was younger. So he never had all that attention. So he had to work to get everything he got. And yeah, just took off at Charlotte, man. It was amazing story.
That's awesome. I mean, we definitely wanted to get into that, so I'm glad you brought it up. I do have two little fun questions for you. So one, and answer this one very carefully. Who would you say he got his athletic ability from, his mom or his dad?
So glad you said that. I think it's a split. I think some of the natural, like the speed and the jumping. Because I could dunk a basketball so easy when I was younger, man. It's just like it was. I was so skinny though. I was 6'2" and about 155, 160 when I was in high school and in college. So he has that, but my wife was a 3-sport all-conference athlete at her school. Yeah. It was a 1A school, but I'm sorry, all conference is all conference. So so she was a really good athlete as well. So we got a little balance of both. And yeah, her dad always says how he got the football from him because he loved playing football.
There you go.
But no, I was a basketball player, loved it. That was my game. That's why Alex loved basketball first. But height-wise, when he was younger, he wasn't the tallest guy. So but it was really funny. And I probably need to reach out to this coach now. This middle school coach told me, he's not as athletic as other guys, but he understands the game so much. And I remember telling Coach Simon, I said, we talk about the game. We watch the games and we would talk because basketball is what I knew the best. I actually coached high school when I was a teacher. I was a high school basketball coach. We talk about weak side help and we talk about all those things. So he understood that when he played. I always was a student of the game. Everything he plays is a student of the game. So.
Did you secretly want him to play for UNC?
When we went there, it's funny, I have a picture of him with Coach Fedora. When we went there, I was hoping he would impress him enough that they would at least talk about a walk-on opportunity. Kind of disappointed because there was a guy who was with him in the same drills who was also an outside linebacker. Someone did talk to him and offered him a walk-on. I was like, that's all good. That was a cool kid. I like that kid. We've been to several camps together. So he did apply to go there. He applied there and he applied at Charlotte, East Carolina. Davidson and Furman were the main 2 schools that recruited him. So he applied to those schools, but he didn't get in Chapel Hill. A little disappointing for him, but I remember saying, you know what? It wasn't meant to be. Let's see what happens with Charlotte, because Charlotte was where he wanted to go. One of his best friends from high school wanted to go there. They were going to be roommates. Furman had the most interest in, but what they offered in grant money and semi-scholarship was still cheaper to go to Charlotte. I said, what do you want to do? You want to go to Furman or want to take a chance at Charlotte? So I'll take chances in Charlotte. Another good friend who was a principal in New Hanover County with me, I remember him telling me, you always want to think, because this guy was a manager at UNC doing it for the football team when Coach Davis, not Davis, sorry, the current coach now, God, Pam, help me out. Who's the current coach at Carolina? Mac Brown.
Mac
He
Brown.
was an assistant in the Mac Brown. He's one of the managers then. You should want to go to a college where you will enjoy being a student there if you weren't playing football. And I think that was the deciding factor for him for deciding to go to Charlotte as opposed to going to Furman.
Well, definitely worked out well for him.
Yeah, I had one more for you. So I know you alluded a little bit draft day being kind of not the full experience because of, everything going on, the obvious. But what was it like? What was the expectation level on that day for where he might get taken and then ultimately to get taken by the Steelers? What was kind of the feeling there?
Well, I'll be honest, it was very exciting. What we'll call him, he made his money at the combine. I don't know if you guys saw any of the film. He did amazingly well. We were overjoyed about how well he did. He came in, and when he ran his 40, he actually had the fastest of all the defensive linemen. He ended up having the third fastest time. Then he got in the position drills. He was almost flawless out there. He looked so athletic and skilled, exceeded what I was hoping he would be. I have high expectations for my son, but I was still going, he'll do okay. He looked great. So after that, that's the first time Pittsburgh reached out. General Manager Colbert was at the Shrine Bowl. He liked what he saw at the Shrine Bowl. But before COVID, he was supposed to have an in-house visit with Pittsburgh, supposed to have one with Atlanta, with Arizona. I'm missing one. I can't think of the other. But they ended up doing a Zoom meeting, and I remember it well. Alice was upstairs with Coach. Oh my God, why is my brain so bad? I guess I'm so caught up in the selection of Coach Tomlin and Mr. Colbert. And I was sitting there. I said, Cal, can I sneak upstairs and listen? Because I always have loved Mike Tomlin's voice. So I opened the door and snuck upstairs, man. And hearing him, I thought, oh my God, this is real. He's talking to Mike Tomlin. And it was crazy. And another little funny tidbit, when he came downstairs, he said, Coach Tomlin asked about Derek Brunson, one of the MMA fighters. He's a middleweight. He's actually a former student of mine when I was a teacher in Wilmington. I think he's ranked number 7 in the state, in the world. He's a really good middleweight. Well, Coach Tomlin follows MMA and knows Brunson. So he asked him that. So I always love when I see the video and of him calling out on draft night, say, hey, how you doing? You have Brunson there with you. Because he remembered that from the conversation. I told Derek here in Wilmington, I said, we got to get you up there to meet Coach Tomlin at some point, man. I think that would be cool. But we were anticipating, based on the pre-draft conversations, there was a good chance he'd be third round. In the back of my mind, I said, I'm not going to be disappointed if he slips to the fourth. But we felt very confident he'd be going by fourth round. Being a day 2 person, that was just so exciting. We knew the second round wasn't going to happen. So we started listening. Some of the teams had an interest. We knew Miami had a lot of picks. So when Miami came up, we were like, okay, and they didn't pick him. There were a couple other teams that we kind of thought might have interest. But then as it got going, as it getting like in the 80s and 90s, I remember looking, so Alex, 102. It's Pittsburgh down there. And I can't remember the team before that was also interested. And I remember saying, don't pick him. And they didn't. So we're like, oh my gosh. Philly was also real close. We had a feeling it'd be one of those two. And it was, I think it was New England's pick. I remember exactly. We were all sitting there on the couch. And the phone rang. He looked down, and I didn't see it, but he saw a Pennsylvania number. He told everybody, shh. I'm like, okay. So we listened. And I forget who called him first. I want to say Colbert called him first, but then he talked to Tomlin. And it kind of sunk in then, man. It was like, oh my God, this really is going to happen with the best tradition-rich organization. I mean,
Yeah.
I never was Steelers fans growing up, but I always respected them. I was a Rams fan, so I was heartbroken in '80 when they beat us in the Super Bowl, and then I became a Redskins fan, and when Charlotte came up, I became a Panthers fan. But it couldn't have been a better place for him, and what he's done so far, we're elated, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I think for him to land in Pittsburgh with him being just a hard worker and linebacker university essentially, and like the hard-nosed defense and the way he plays, he's going to fit in perfectly. And I mean, we're excited to have him. I mean, you never know what can happen with injuries and losing players a contract situation. So I'm excited as a fan, to know that we have guys coming in behind that are going to come in and, be able to be contributors. Like I will personally say I was actually surprised that he's been contributing as much as he has, just because usually, the young guys, they don't get as many reps, they don't get as many snaps. But for him to make an impact, it really shows the value that Pittsburgh puts on him, for his position as a contributor.
Yes. And we've been told that, and I have a lot of people I follow and communicate with on Twitter, but they were like, Tom doesn't play rookies a lot, so you need to be impressed with what he's doing. I said, I am. Trust me, I am. And I think the beauty of that play on Sunday, he always has. When he was younger, when he made a mistake, he would get down. That face would just drop, and I would just fuss at him and say, "Don't show on your face. You got to earn it next play. You got to make it back." And the fact that he was told at halftime what happened, be prepared for it, and he remembered and did it, was just, yeah, he's special, very special.
Trav, you got anything else you want to ask? You good?
Nope, that was it. That was the last one I had.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're super excited. I love seeing you interact on Twitter as well with Steeler Nation. And it's kind of, I was telling my brother, he's not really on Twitter or social media much, but I was telling him, it's kind of a unique family on Twitter of people who kind of, come. Usually it's a couple of days leading up to the game on Sunday. You'll start to see people start posting a few things like, oh, get to 8-0, like, oh, it's time. Like, oh, we got Baltimore this week. And then it kind of like, it builds all up. And then game day, it's just the back and forth of everybody going in on it. And I can say that Steeler Nation has definitely welcomed you with open arms, and Alex as well, and your whole family. So we are glad to have you.
It has been a blessing. We're a family of faith, and I think his faith really has got him his place. I mean, told him have hard work, but I mean, we have things, and he has things planned that we're going to do outside of football, and I think this is going to be the platform, and we're just excited.
That's awesome.
And ready to be 8-0, and I have a lot of Cowboys friends here in town. I have family members of the Cowboys, and I'm hoping, and I feel bad for the backup quarterback, but I'm hoping we'll get that first sack this weekend. So
yeah,
that would be great. We don't know if it's going to be Ben DiNucci, it's going to be Cooper Rush, or even Garrett Gilbert, but I guess we'll find out.
We'll find out.
Hopefully he'll get some good rest too. And I know they're doing a lot of different things with Devin Bush being out for the year. I was telling my brother, I saw a lot of different plays where they had Bud, TJ, and Alex out there, all three at the same time. That was actually, I think, what the personnel they had when he made the interception.
Yes, it was.
They had all three of them out there, kind of running some different Keith Butler stylized defenses there. So we're super excited. Again, we really appreciate you joining us and giving us some time and answering some questions for us.
Thanks for coming on. Thanks a lot, Mr. Highsmith.
No problem. And I had to put this up here.
That's right. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right,
appreciate the
easy.
invite. All right. Have a good one.
See ya.